Hello everyone, James here, and it's Christmas Eve! Santa must be over Southern Hemisphere, round about now, let's say Japan, and I've already started drinking, so this video is going to be interesting. I always wanted to do something festive, so I got thinking about Christmas specials of some good old TV shows. Now, while I'm a big fan of this time of year, I don't expect much from Christmas specials generally. I sort of they don't tend to be standouts for their particular programs. So I decided to go for five. Five Christmas specials which are not only good Christmas stories, but in my opinion, good episodes of their respective shows in their own right. Now, most of these are quite old, but I'm quite retro, so yeah, gonna have to deal with that, I'm afraid. So with that in mind, let's start with number five. This is Doctor Who and the 2010 Christmas special, A Christmas Carol. So our favourite Time Lord's companions are trapped aboard a starship that needs to navigate a layer of turbulent frozen fog above an alien planet to avoid crashing. The fog can be controlled from a machine, but the controls only respond to the machine's owner, a Scrooge-like miser called Kazran, who keeps people frozen for death insurance and is quite happy to let the passengers die. However, the Doctor realises there is good in Kazran, and uses his TARDIS to alter Kazran's past, present, and future, and turn him good just in time to save the day. This is just the thing to watch after your Christmas dinner. I mean, it's not too heavy or intense or depressing. It's fun. It's hilarious. It's whimsical. It's just Christmassy, and it's also genuinely heartfelt and moving. I welled up at this when I saw it, and I'm not an emotional guy. And I do think of all the Doctors, Matt Smith really is the one for Christmas. I mean, he's just got such sort of childish delight and whimsy. He was just born to be the Doctor at Christmas time.
Blimey, sorry, Christmas Eve on a rooftop, saw a chimney, my whole brain just went, what the hell?
And this is a very clever retelling of A Christmas Carol, particularly in its portrayal of the ghost of Christmas yet to come. I won't spoil it, but it's a brilliant little twist on the classic, and I didn't see it coming. And I'll admit I was a little dubious when I heard that Katherine Jenkins, the opera singer, had been cast in the story. But she was given an absolutely beautiful number by Murray Gold, and it's actually one of the selling points of the episode. And it also features a giant flying shark. Moffat. But yeah, a smart little treat for the Christmas holidays, which really is worth revisiting.
Do you know, in 900 years of time and space, I've never met anyone who wasn't important before.
And now on to my number four. This is Yes Minister, and the feature-length Christmas special entitled Party Games. If you haven't seen this series, you've got to. It is a great bit of British satire. Yes Minister follows Jim Hacker, a feeble minister in the fictional Department of Administrative Affairs. He means well, but is usually foiled by the manipulative civil servant Sir Humphrey Appleby, with his never-ending stream of red tape and bureaucracy. But after their Christmas party, a drink-driving incident starts a chain of events, placing Jim directly in line for the party leadership. What's great about this is the authenticity of it. You can believe that this is what Christmas is like in government.
Which is which? Well, they're all clearly labelled, Minister. These you sign Jim, these you sign Jim Hacker, these Jim and Annie, these Annie and Jim Hacker, these love from Annie and Jim.
This was broadcast during Thatcher's government, I think, but the writers never actually dealt with current affairs. They used their knowledge of the British political system to come up with things that they knew could happen, and as a result, the show ended up predicting a few things, like the recession and the smoking ban. And in this one, Jim has to deal with the European Union wanting to impose a standardised Euro sausage, which is basically the British sausage doesn't comply with EU regulations.
They can't stop us eating the British sausage, can they?
They can stop us calling it the sausage, though. Apparently it's going to be called the emulsified high-fat offal tube.
Can't you just imagine UKIP banging on about that now? But this Christmas special has the characters at their best as well.
You've got Jim's disarming bluster, and you've got Humphrey's smug manipulation, and you've got Bernard, who seems to be trolling them half the time.
We just have to grit our teeth and bite on the bullet.
You can't bite a bullet if you're gritting your teeth, Minister. You see, if you do that, you can't get the bullet in.
Doesn't the futility of it all depress you, Bernard?
Not really, Minister. I'm a civil servant.
And I don't know how much of a spoiler this is, but this is the story where Jim is given the most fitting Christmas present of all.
Yes, Prime Minister.
And on to my number 3.
Porridge, and its first Christmas special, No Way Out.
Porridge was a classic 70s sitcom about the inmates and wardens at Her Majesty's Slade Prison. Think a slightly tamer Orange is the New Black. And a guy's prison. And less sex and violence and all. I regard this series to be Ronnie Barker's finest work in his portrayal of the habitual criminal Norman Stanley Fletcher. And this Christmas episode stands out as one of the show's best.
A prisoner plans to escape on Christmas Eve, and the others form a carol choir to drown out the sound of his tunnel.
When a Scotsman came inside, all
The scheme is the work of feared mastermind Harry Grout. That's Aemon Targaryen for you Game of Thrones fans, who recruits Fletcher to subtly aid in the escape. Fletcher fears that the plot will ruin Christmas and conspires to malinger in the infirmary until the equilibrium is restored.
You're a perfect specimen of manhood, Fletcher.
It's not that I've come about, it's me knee.
No Way Out frames Christmas in the context of the show very well. It's still charming, but with the right amount of cynicism for time in prison.
Do we get turkey?
Well, they call it turkey, don't they? But not having seen it carved, we don't know, do we? I mean, if it is, then the one we had on our block last year must have been a very funny shape. 28 legs and no breast.
And the thing about this show was Fletch could never win outright against the system. He could only score little points on it. But this Christmas story might well be one of his finest hours.
He just talks his way around the inmates and the prison authorities, all just to get a small, simple little thing he wants. And I won't spoil the ending of this story, but it really is one of the best punchlines that the writers ever came up with.
If you haven't seen Porridge, I'd check it out. I mean, a few of the jokes may have dated, and some of it may seem a little insensitive nowadays, but it holds up a lot better than most stuff from that time, and this episode is definitely no exception. So moving straight on to number 2.
The Father Ted Christmas Special. A Christmassy Ted.
This was a Channel 4 sitcom that ran in the 90s, written by Graham Linehan and Arthur Matthews. It was about a trio of Catholic priests on a miserable island off the coast of Ireland. So for a series about priests, you'd think the Christmas special would show a more religious take on the holidays, but no. We never see the priest conducting service, saying mass, doing anything priestly at all, and that actually goes for the rest of the series. So what is the story?
Father Ted is unhappy with his social standing and just wants a nice quiet Christmas to forget it all. But when he helps out some fellow priests, Ted becomes something of a celebrity. The newfound acclamation rather gets to his head, but simultaneously ruins any hope of his Christmas being nice or quiet.
Now this episode really demonstrates Graham Linehan's sort of love of comedy set pieces.
For instance, there's the scene where the priests are lost in the lingerie section of this shopping centre, and the whole thing's played out like a Vietnam War movie. There's some pretty ridiculous stunts in this episode as well.
The selling point of this show is its irreverence, despite its subject matter. It's more wacky than a show about Catholic priests has any right to be, and this Christmas story is no exception. Plus, it has my all-time favourite moment with Father Jack and the Advent Calendar.
What would you say is behind tomorrow's window, Father Jack?
A pair of feckin' women's knickers!
Good load of fun, and I watch it most years. and my number one favourite Christmas special.
The Detectives, Thicker Than Water.
Hand over your handbag or I'll hit you.
Now, I don't know if many people will have heard of this one. The Detectives was an early 90s sitcom starring Jasper Carrot and Robert Powell as two totally incompetent detective constables in the police force called Briggs and Louis. Well, I think one of the writers now does Peaky Blinders. But, I mean, it was good for a few laughs, definitely. But the Christmas episode has to be my favourite ever.
Our heroes, Briggs and Louis, have worked every Christmas since joining the police. But this Christmas Eve they decide enough is enough and they're going to take off and celebrate like everyone else. But they realise they have nobody to share the festive season with, so they decide to spend it together. They resolve to have a good time despite a one-legged turkey, not having any money, and a criminal dressed as Santa Claus on the loose.
Now, this episode only lasts 30 minutes, but in that time, it nails every aspect of modern Christmas.
The excitement, the cynicism, the disappointment, and the last-minute shopping. Family get-togethers, slightly drunk Boxing Day, getting ripped off by special offers.
If we buy 2 more, we get 6 free ones. You came in for 6.
I can't think there are many people who could watch this and not go, I've had a Christmas like that at some point. Plus, I must mention George Sewell, the actor who plays their superintendent. There aren't many actors who can do drunk convincingly. George Sewell nails drunk.
Take my advice. Avoid the police. And this morning, I didn't get home till 3 o'clock in the morning this morning.
That's so easy to overdo, but he gets it just right in my opinion. But the real reason this ranks number one for me is the one scene in which Briggs and Louis agree on their Christmas plan.
Why the heck not? Spontaneity.
Spontaneity.
We'd go now.
We could have a few cans.
We get a turkey.
My oven's bust.
We'll grill it.
Or fry it.
We can do what we want.
Exactly.
That scene gets me every time. They're in this miserable little pub with terrible music, wrapping their presents in police tape. But they're just so excited and happy to have Christmas plans again. And that line, we can do what we want, perfectly delivered by Robert Powell. Because I like all of these specials, but this story inspires me. Because Christmas doesn't always go the way you want it to. I mean, you may not buy into the religion side of it. You may not like the consumerist nature of it now. Some random act of fate might ruin it for you. All the plans might go awry. And it's so hard to be happy at a time when everyone is telling you you're supposed to be. But this story is telling you that tradition is only one way to do it. If you can't do a traditional Christmas, do something else, as long as it makes you happy. Be random, be spontaneous, be ridiculous. Be whatever you need, just be happy. Because that is what Christmas is all about now. And that is why Thicker Than Water is, without doubt, my favourite Christmas special.
Merry Christmas, everybody!
Okay, that's about it from me. Thank you for watching this, and if you have any other Christmas specials that you love, or any that I've missed, do let me know, because I'm sure there's loads I haven't seen, and I'm always going to see more. Have a fantastic day tomorrow. Have a fantastic Christmas period. Hope the new year is great to you. Merry Christmas. God bless us, everyone.